Oh. Okay. Oh boy. Okay, before I get into the harvest, let's see if I can get you some shade. Okay, before I get into that, I want to show y'all this. I came across a couple of these clumps, and it's like, it's not one potato, or whatever you call sweet potatoes. They just grew all wrapped up. Sorry, I'm too close. Wrapped up in each other. So, I ran into at least one other that was like that. Just thought that was neat. I wanted to show it to you. Break that one off. I don't know if I can. Okay. Cool. It's bright out here, y'all. I was gonna record all of this, but it's too hot for my phone, so I didn't have any shade set up. But see those? See this? I am quite pleased. Okay, so you know I have the purple ones. And then I have two that the skin is going to be pretty similar. So I think I really just tell by actually piercing the skin some to see what color they are. But I have a regular, like, orange sweet potato. And then I have that white one that I really love. Sorry, I'm going to give y'all some shade. But, yeah, they did really well. So, let's see, I'm gonna sit right here for a second. It's just gonna have to be bright, guys. But one thing that, what was I gonna mention? Oh, so you know I put this in the bed that the other potatoes, the white or whatever color potatoes were in. So I had put some stuff in there, some bone meal, and I have been putting some other stuff in there for those already. And then I planted my sweet potato slips around those. If you want to go back and look at that potato video, you'll see them off in there. I might link that down below. But I did that, and then, let's see. Have I fed these any? I know I was feeding those. I don't remember if I fed these specifically. I may or may not have. I know I used all of the bone meal that I had. So I don't know if I used all of it while I still had the others in here, or if I went ahead and put it out on these. I think I put it on these. Yes, I did put some stuff, because I remember now having to kind of shake the leaves to try to get it down under the canopy. But yeah, so I think I finished the bone meal on these, and I just had like some like garden tone or something like that I put in here as well. I don't think I added anything else special, and I probably used my that fish fertilizer that I had. I might have used some of that at some point. I really don't remember, but I know I used the garden tone, and like I said, the bone meal was either already in here. Well, it was already in here, and then I may or may not have added some more specifically on these plants. Now, something else I wanted to say. Let me let this down so y'all can look while I'm sitting here. Okay. So, something else I wanted to say. In watching two things actually. In watching some videos about sweet potatoes, because after how the other potatoes did, I was like, something's got to give here. What somebody was saying, well, somebody said something about not letting your like vines spread too much, because then you end up with a whole bunch of like these skinny ones, which is what happened last year. I ended up with a bunch of small ones and not many larger ones. And they were saying, yeah, not to let, like, they don't let their vines get more than, you know, maybe like 3 feet out or something like that. So if you noticed, the vines like that were outside of the bed, this bee keeps flying over here, that were on the outside of the bed, they actually weren't that far out from the bed. And that's because I was actually just mowing over them. Sorry, there's a fly on my hand. I was just mowing over them to keep them from spreading out too far. So that's one thing I tried this year. I feel like all things combined, benefited the harvest, but just letting you know. I tried that. And also, which, let me back up. I felt like that was a good thing. Even if it didn't help particularly, it was good to know that me cutting the vines back in case I did need to kind of size control this area, that it wasn't gonna hurt the harvest. You know what I'm saying? So obviously not cutting it back like one stalk or anything, or one stem of the vine or whatever. But I didn't have to just let it do whatever it wanted. So that was good to know. Now, the second thing I was going to say, because you may or may not remember this, I don't buy slips. So the slips that I've been using the last few years have been either potatoes that I saved from the year before. Ugh, bee, move. Oh my gosh. Either potatoes that I saved from the year before, or that I went and bought, like, organic sweet potatoes in the grocery store. And my original slips were from the grocery store. So, like, this year, I think I had one or two of these left from last year. And then I had to go buy one for the other one or two. So, yeah. That to say, I didn't have any real growing information on these. So, I said this before about the other potatoes that I had in here earlier, and how where I bought them, I think they might have had a variety name out there, or did they? I don't remember. They probably did, but and if they did, then I could have used that information to look up some information on them. But when you buy stuff, already packaged and whatnot, it usually has some information, some growing and harvesting information. And with me not doing that, or getting my stuff from places like that, potatoes from places like that, I didn't get that kind of information. So, especially with these, where I'm growing my own slips, and I might have a variety name from the grocery store, and I could probably use that to get information, but I generally don't pay too much attention to that. And quite frankly, a lot of times it probably just says, especially for the regular ones, it would have just said sweet potato or organic sweet potato or something. But I don't remember. Sorry guys, I had to cough. I was about to say something, but I'm actually going to change that. I was watching somebody's video, not the same one that was talking about cutting them back. I don't think it was the same person or the same video, but somebody was talking about, I think they were getting ready to harvest their sweet potatoes, or they were just like walking around showing their stuff, and they talked about them when they were kind of passing them. Oh my gosh. And they said something about them taking 120 days. Now, one thing I mentioned with the other potatoes was how I didn't know how long I was supposed to leave them. And so I was kind of doing a little research and kind of guessing and not being sure if that was part of the issue with my harvest. And that might have been part of the issue with this harvest last year, with my sweet potatoes last year, was that I didn't give them enough time. So this morning, I was pretty sure I had given these some time, but I wasn't sure. And I remembered that in that other potato video, I did have it dated, and I showed you these in the ground. So I wouldn't have had the exact date of when I put these in, but I know they'd been in at least since that date. And that was sometime in May when I showed the clip that had these in. So I was like, okay, so these have been in for at least 120 days, or for over 120 days. So I felt comfortable going ahead and pulling them now, because I was going to leave them like all the way up to, just before frost or something. But anyway, yeah, so I'm pretty sure I left these in longer than I did last year. And I'm certain that helped. I'm sure that helped. So yeah, that, and I probably fertilized them last year too. Don't know, but anyway, I got us a nice harvest here. I am really quite pleased. Now some of these are really big. I don't know what to say about that, about how big some of these are, but like this right here, that's bananas, man. So I don't necessarily want them big like that, and we'll see how those are when I actually cut into them, whenever I get around to cutting into them. Hopefully they're good. Hopefully they're good. But I think that's gonna be it, y'all. I might leave this outside. I'm not expecting any rain, so I can probably leave these out for a bit, but whenever I do need to take them in, they'll sit in the garage. And honestly, last year, that's where I kept them, like all winter. Like they were in the garage. They were actually sitting in this cart in the garage in a corner, and I would just go out and get some as I needed them. Wasn't this on the whole time? I might have moved them over to my potting table at some point, but yeah, I just kept them out there, and that worked out pretty well. But yeah, I'm really happy with this, y'all. I'm really happy. I need to get those from over there and put them in here. I got quite a little mess out here too. Well, not too bad. That over there wasn't related to this, but yeah, I decided if I'm gonna leave this out to be mowed over, I'd have to spread that out, or if I'm gonna actually just clean it up. I was originally just gonna lay it back over this bed, but I think I'm gonna throw some greens, some seeds out here for some greens. So if I'm doing that, I'm not gonna be able to leave that stuff laying on top. Not sure. All right, that is it. See you guys next time. Bye.